This is a special edition of WeatherScope with the latest winter storm update.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Bruce Edwards in the Weather Channel Forecast Center. Of course, in the East Coast, we're just past the lunch hour right now. We're just starting the lunch hour. We're continuing to watch the blizzard of 96 as it once again wreaks havoc across the Northeast. Just within the last week, we've had some heavy snows in New England, and here we go again with more heavy snow now moving through a good chunk of Connecticut and Massachusetts. But situated through the entire storm has been Jill Brown in Central Park, New York, just off Central Park. And Jill's with us right now. And Jill, I see a few more bodies moving around there besides yourself.
That's right, Bruce. Here on the Upper West Side here, and this is a sight you are not going to see often. You're looking at Central Park West here with no traffic on a Monday. The morning rush hour was nothing. We've seen a few buses go by, a few cabs, and even over on Broadway, the next street over, there's just no one out in a vehicle. You can catch some of the subways, but most folks today are deciding that they're going to walk, which New Yorkers like to do and have to do, really. And a lot of folks are getting by on skis today. But it's 20 degrees, light snow, and a little nicer than yesterday because the winds have died down. That's been the biggest thing.
Well, Jill, I notice in the background in the street looks like maybe a street hockey game breaking out with the kids out of school today, and this is sort of a rare treat for them as well.
It sure is. Can you imagine? It's been 18 years since the last time they let the New York City school kids out for a snow day. So they are definitely happy today. We've seen them on skis, and the sleds are coming by, and a lot of happy faces. Maybe not on the adults, but definitely on the kids' faces.
Well, just think, those kids, when they grow up, they can tell their kids that. Just think, oh, back in '96, I played street hockey on Broadway in New York City. So they're having some fun, I'm sure. Well, Jerry, take care, stay warm, and we'll talk with you a little bit later on. Meanwhile, other action going on with this storm system. It has wreaked havoc. The kids like it, and they enjoy it, of course, but anyone that has to get out and about, it's just nothing but major nightmares and major headaches. We take a look at some of the action, first of all, from the Big Apple, New York City. This is Central Park, and look at the statues wearing a shawl of white as a frozen Big Apple, and I tell you, that's the best way to get out and about. A little ski action right through the heart of the city, and that'll get you there, but cover up everything you can because wind chills are dangerous. Out on Long Island, the winds are really whipping. The snows came down fast and furious. The Long Island Expressway, once again, a parking lot in spots, and navigating through that was a big chore indeed. And we still have some light snow now in the Long Island area, but don't be surprised. I know for Jill Brown, we should have probably warned her, but we're getting a little bit of a backwash effect, so we're getting some moderate to heavy snows now in northern New Jersey, and that could sweep across the New York metro area within the next hour or so. Let's take a look at the situation now as far as the history is concerned. We added a new category to our snow history. That's the purple. That is where we have experienced better than 2 feet of snow. Usually we stop at a foot or better, but we've had so many reports of better than 2 feet of snow that we had to add a new category to the map. Here's a look at some of the numbers for you. Elizabeth, New Jersey, almost 3 feet of snow, 30 inches in Philly, 24, 2 feet in D.C., 22 inches in my old stomping grounds, Roanoke, Virginia, 22 so far in LaGuardia, Boston 11, but it's coming down at the rate of an inch an hour in Boston. You may see the worst yet to come. Philly had a daily snowfall record of just about that 30-inch mark. Roanoke and the other side of the Blue Ridge Mountains, Lynchburg, set a daily snowfall record with this storm, and even on the shores of the Ohio River, Cincinnati, Ohio, almost 13 inches for a 24-hour snowfall record. We take a look at the current situation as far as the airports are concerned, and again, these airports are closed. They're going to reassess the situation at most airports tonight, but Baltimore has decided they're not even going to look at it until about noon tomorrow, so they're closed. So if you're planning on flying in or out of the Northeast, forget about it until perhaps Tuesday at the earliest. We look at the situation on the surface map right now, and there we can see the low pressure system swirling about, and it's bringing in some gusty winds, and once again some heavy snows, and a little backwash snow is what we're seeing. Here's a look at the regional radar, and if you notice, there's a little slot of somewhat drier air that has been creeping in right on through this area right here with the swirl of low pressure, but what we're seeing is most of this moisture is wrapping around in that clockwise fashion around the low pressure area, and what we're seeing is some moderate to occasionally heavy amounts of snow moving through. Now, as we look to the northeast around Boston and Worcester and Norwood, even at Chicopee Falls in the Berkshires, we're getting some moderate to heavy snows right in this general area right on through here at the present time, but we see a little bit of a clearing as we work our way on towards Providence and southern portions of Connecticut. Meanwhile, farther south, what we're seeing is the wrap of that moisture, and that moisture is wrapping around and bringing some occasionally moderate snows east of D.C. towards Richmond Richmond, Norfolk, and Newport News and working its way offshore. But once this band of moderate to heavy snow is through, I think we ought to be in pretty fair shape, at least improving conditions here. Now, the snowfall forecast through 7 o'clock tomorrow morning, as you'll note, from down East Maine right along the coast down to around eastern Connecticut. That's where we're forecasting an additional 3 to 6 inches of snowfall over the next 24-hour period. Now, coastal flood warnings still issued from the Merrimack to Fenwick Island at the present time, and again, south and north of that, gale warnings are presently in effect for that region of the country, so around the coastal region, as well as from Savannah, Georgia down to St. Augustine, as strong winds being felt all the way down into South Florida. This is a humdinger of a storm. The blizzard of 96 is now affecting central New England with the heaviest snows in northern New Jersey. We'll continue with updates all throughout the course of the day, but right now Vivian Brown has a look at our forecasts in the Weather Channel studios. Vivian?
Thank you very much, Bruce. Just another look at that storm along the northeastern seaboard. You can see it's offshore, but still the counterclockwise winds with it, bringing in the moisture, the cold air still in place. And as Bruce mentioned, we still have some pretty significant snows in central and eastern Massachusetts down to Concord, New Hampshire, or should I say down to Hartford, Connecticut, up to Concord, New Hampshire. We've had some heavier snows around Portsmouth, actually, within the last hour. So this area of low pressure will continue to move off to the northeast. So we do anticipate improving conditions from south to north as this system starts to lift off in that direction. Now, before it moves completely away, we still have the potential for 3 to 6 inches of additional snow in eastern Massachusetts and down East Maine. But again, as it continues to move away, we will slowly but surely say good riddance to this big 1996 snowstorm, which has been pretty much which has brought pretty much the heaviest snows we've seen within the last decade across Philadelphia and the nation's capital. Here's tomorrow morning. It's out of here. Good riddance. Here's our next system, though. It's clipping across the Great Lakes, and as it slides into the region, will bring some light snow and perhaps another dose of light snow tomorrow over parts of the northeast. But hey, this is nothing compared to what we've seen, so we'll just chalk this up as a little dusting. The next system in the Pacific Northwest, some light rain along the coast in the higher elevations. Anticipate the snows, but it will remain fairly dry in the nation's midsection within the next 24 hours. So you have no measurable amounts of precipitation here. Of course, this is liquid equivalent to the snow, an additional 3 to 6 inches right along the coast of Maine and Massachusetts, and you see snow in the higher terrain out west. Afternoon highs tomorrow, or today, should I say, will stay in the 30s across much of northern Georgia, Mississippi, and Alabama. There you see the 20s, teens, and single digits the farther north you go. And overnight tonight, we have hard freeze advisories in effect for a good part of Florida, as temperatures are expected to drop into the 20s. Be careful.